Hi everybody, how's it going? Mark here. Hello. And I thought this video I would show you these magazines. These are the magazines that come with the figurine collections that I get every fortnight and such. I had a couple of requests from Minutia Minute and Costa Bromstar. Well, I say request, they showed some inclination of interest in what might be inside these magazines, so I thought I'd do a video just in case there's anybody else out there that wanted to see. We'll start off with the oldest one first. These are just a selection of the newest magazines that I've got. I'm not going to go through every single one of them because I've got nearly 200 of the Marvel ones, over 100 of the DC classic ones, and there's about 10 of the chess set ones. So I probably could if people really wanted to see what was inside them, but I think just to give you an idea of what's in the magazines that comes with the figurine, I'll just show you with the newest ones. So start off with the longest running one so far, which is the classic Marvel figurine collection. This is issue 177 and it's for Nico Minoru. Is that how you pronounce her name? Yeah, Nico Minoru. Okay, that's the front cover. Now, the front covers on all of these are just reprints of either American comic covers, or they're just reprints of splash pages or posters which have got the characters on them. So not, I mean, some of them are really nice. This is a really nice picture, really nice painting there of Sister Grimm. Is that her alias? Yeah, Sister Grimm. Yeah. So there you go. There's the front cover, and you open it up inside. You have contents page, which just gives you a little blurb about the character on there. Oops. And in this one it says Nico Minoru. It's traditional for teenagers to kick against parental control, but Nico Minoru was a rebel with good cause. Her parents were actually evil, as Nico's mother proved by attacking her with an arcane artifact, the Staff of One. However, the Staff of Mom was absorbed into Nico's body, and she acquired new, unpredictable, and often terrifying magical powers, and so on and so forth. I probably would have been able to read it better if I had my glasses on, but you get screen glare and that, and you don't really want that sort of in your eyes. You get inside the actual magazine, you get a section called Life and Times, which gives you the history of the character, which is up there. And there's a few pages of that, and you get the stats and facts on the character, their names, age, height, citizenship, place of birth, known relatives, group affiliation, base of operation. It's just exactly the same as what you get in things like the Marvel handbook, official Marvel handbook and such. And this goes on a bit more about the history of Sister Grimm. You get a fair few pages. It goes into fair detail about the actual character and their history. Then you have, usually you have a poster in the middle of this. For some reason they just decided to put three covers of the Runaways up on there, which I think is a bit of a cop out on this one. So there you go. That's it. Like I said, usually you get a poster in there, which is, it's all right, but of course if anybody's a collector of these things, they're not going to use the poster anyway, but it's nice to have a poster in there sometimes. And then you also get another section called Amazing Secrets, which goes more into the character's powers and more into behind the actual character. And then you've got a Who's Who, which is all about the specific characters here, friends and foes. In this one you have Robert and Tina Minoru, who are Sister Grimm's mother and father. You've got the Pride, the Gaborium, Alex Welder, Cloak and Dagger, the Witch Breeder, Lieutenant Flores, and Topher. Not too bad. And as well as that, at the back, now they have they used to have a behind the scenes where with older characters like Spider-Man, Captain America, Thor, the Incredible Hulk, they would actually go into into the origins of the character, not the story origins, but the actual origins, how Stan Lee created them, how the artists got into decided to design the characters and that. Excuse me. Now it's actually going into the story of Marvel Comics. This is part 19 of the story of Marvel Comics. You only get 2 pages of that, and this one is in the 1970s, and this goes on. This says about the movie adaptations of, the comic book adaptations of movies and TV series. You've got down the bottom here, you've got Battlestar Galactica, Star Trek, Tarzan, John Carter, Warlord of Mars, 2001: A Space Odyssey, and then you have up the top the Marvel's Wizard of Oz, and then they also go on about the Treasury editions, like you've got Spider-Man and Hulk and Winter Olympics. If I can figure out which way this goes on camera. Spider-Man and Hulk at the Winter Olympics. You've got Spider-Man, Superman. There's a little bit there of the Incredible Hulk and Batman. And then you've got the Captain America Bicentennial Treasury edition. X-Men versus Titans. And then at the bottom here, JLA versus Avengers, which is usually quite interesting to read. And then on the back cover you have what's coming in next issue, and you can see that's going to be Domino. Okay. Sadly, I've only got 1 issue this month of the classic Marvel figurine collection, because where I usually get them, they didn't get hold of issue 176, which was I can't even remember who it was supposed to be now, but I haven't got them yet. So there you go. One good thing about this, which isn't in the DC ones, is you actually have a timeline at the bottom here. And it shows the first appearance of the character, which comic the first appearance of the character was, and it goes on showing you issue by issue. And what me? All the different poignant points in the character's history in comic books and that, which I think is really good, because if there's any specific comics you're looking, if you're reading this bit, if there's any specific comics you're actually looking to get, I think it's a pretty good idea. It's unfortunate that they don't do the same thing in the DC figurine collection one and the chess set one. You also have, in this one, you also have a little advert for the next special figurine, which is going to be Terrax. There you go, which is coming out on the 7th of June. Oh, that's today. Oh, I'll be picking it up at the end of the month then. So yeah, that's the Marvel figurine one, which I think is pretty good actually. I'll show you the DC one. We've got Grifter, which is number 110, and it's quite similar in the way they do it. You've got hello, contents, a history of the character in the comic books. There you go. Only thing is no timeline, so you haven't got. There isn't any specific comics that they tell you to, to pick up to get the best out of the character, really. And this continues on with Wildstorm, Wildcats, Stormwatch, and it does actually start. It goes on for the whole of the character's history, and in the DC one, these ones now do go into the reboot of the DC universe. Then in the middle, in fact, it's not actually the middle, but after you get the history of the character, you do get a very, very brief and quick rundown of what comics to pick up if you're looking to find out more about the character. This one says you should get Wildcats version 3.0, year 1 and 2, and Grifter volume 3, number 1 to 6, which is the reboot comics they say to pick up if you want to get the best out of the character. Which, I don't know, anyone who reads Grifter or knows the character Grifter better, maybe you think that there's a lot more better comics or trade paperbacks out there than these two. And then you get Allies and Enemies, which is again a list of all the characters that are the friends and foes of the main character in this comic, in this magazine. And then you also get a brief history of characters that I suppose you would say were similar in vein to the main character. This one's the masked gunslingers. As you can see, you got the Trigger twins up there. You got the original Golden Age Vigilante there. You have the newest version of the Crimson Avenger, which was in the JSA series and the Justice Society of America series, which was written by Jeff Jones. You've got Deadshot, Peacemaker, Chain Gang, and also Gunfire here. So Deadshot, Peacemaker, and all the various other ones I just mentioned there. And then on the back you've got what's there next, which is Aqualad, which is this one here. And I think the DC one, I'll show you the interior of Aqualad as well whilst I'm doing this. It does go on. It does say very briefly about Garth, the original Aqualad, who doesn't seem to be in the DC reboot universe now. I mean, I should say briefly. Actually, it does say more about Garth. Actually, it goes through Teen Titans, but for some unknown reason, they didn't put Garth as Aqualad. They put this new kid who has such an impact on me that I can't remember his name, Jackson Hyde, and they've decided to put him as Aqualad rather than the classic Aqualad. But there you go, these things happen. And you also have Aqualad's classic stories. You've got Tempest issues 1 to 4 and Brightest Days book 1 and 3. Whether they'll bring out an Aqualad figurine, I don't know. I don't think they will, because this is issue 111, and from what I understand, they're finishing on issue 120. And I don't think Tempest is in any of the future figurine sets that's coming out. And then again, you've got Allies and Enemies, and then the aquatic heroes of the DC universe from all different eras. So yeah, and then the next issue you've got Jason Todd, Red Hood, from Red Hood and the Outlaws, which is a fine comic. Yeah, the DC one really isn't. The figurines are good, and I collect the figurines on the DC one because I used to really love DC Comics. But the actual magazine of the DC one really does lose out on the Marvel one, because you don't get the timeline at the bottom of the comic to tell you which comics to actually pick up, which I think is really sorely missed in this comic. So I'll quickly go through that. You remember this last figurine video I did, I showed you my Swamp Thing figurine that I got. This is the special edition. This is the magazine that came with that one, and it's just exactly the same thing in this special edition. Table of contents, history, and it goes through all the, goes through the whole of the history of Swamp Thing, and again tells you which classic stories to pick up. This one says to get Roots of Swamp Thing, Roots of the Swamp Thing, which is, they said 2011, so I'm taking it's the classics library version of the Roots of the Swamp Thing, and also Saga of the Swamp Thing Book 1, and they've put down here as 2009, so I'm imagining it's the re-released version of it, of the trade paperback. And oh, actually it says Swamp Thing #1 for the 2011 reboot is also worth picking up. And then you've got the allies and enemies: Constantine, Anton Arcane, Abby Holland, Tefe Holland, the Demon. Yeah, it goes into a little bit of the background of these ones. But again, it does miss out a lot on not having the timeline, as far as I'm concerned anyway. I think it would be really good if they did put the timeline in these ones. Maybe when they re-release them again in a few years' time, which I'm sure they will, maybe they'll reinstall the timeline ones on the DC comic ones. And yeah, and then at the back of that one, you got a little poster there of Swamp Thing and Abby Arcane in silhouette, which is a nice little poster, And with the Marvel specials, you get a poster, a double-sided poster, which usually has, again, a reprint of a well-known comic cover with that character in it, usually a Virgin cover, or it has a splash page or a pin-up, a well-known pin-up of that character. And if I find, I've got them dotted around here somewhere, if I find one, I'll show you in another video later on. And then finally, we have the chess collection, the DC chess collection. And this is number 8, which is the Riddler, who is a bishop, black bishop. And they all follow basically the same sort of standard format contents. This one actually shows you the characters that you'll be getting with the chess pieces there. It's pretty good. One good thing about the DC chess thing is it's actually a finite series. There's only 32 pieces on a chessboard, so there's only 32 pieces they can actually give you in this, unless they decide they're going to do things like, well, I'll show you in a minute anyway. And it goes into a bit of the history of the character, which, if you've already got these ones, the earlier versions of these ones, you're going to know a lot about the history of these characters. In any case, at the end, there's a little bit of an update from what they've been published previously in the older versions of the main figurine collection. And again, you've got ideal reading for anyone who wants to read more about the Riddler. This one says Batman Riddler Riddle Factory by Mark Wagner and Dave Taylor. And another little bit more about, you know, the Riddler. This you also have, they try to incorporate the character into the chess piece that it's going to, you know, that it's representing. So in here they try to liken the Riddler to a bishop, and how the bishop works on the chessboard. This is how they're trying to liken the Riddler to, you know, a bishop on the chessboard in the comic books. And then at the back of this one you get a little bit on how to play chess, how the actual the bishop moves on the chessboard and how you use it on the chessboard. And then at the back you have an advert for the next issue, which is Poison Ivy. Now, as I was saying, the DC chess set is a finite series as far as I can tell, unless they're going to do what they've done with this special edition that they've got coming out, or this actually is out. They already brought out the Batman chess set, King, and the Joker chess piece King of the White King and the Black King. They've brought out a special edition of Batman and the Joker from Batman: The Dark Knight Returns, from Frank Miller miniseries and that. And they don't look too bad. I've got them waiting for me to pick up at my local comic book shop. Yeah, they look pretty cool. So I mean, that's the only thing I can think of they could possibly do, is give you alternative characters to play in different pieces on the chessboard. But I hope they don't, because my bank balance can't hold that much. And I'll just quickly run through the Poison Ivy one. She's a pawn on the chess set, and you have more about Poison Ivy. Some really nice pictures of her in here, about when she was in the Gotham Gotham Sirens, and again it also goes into the DC reboot as well. And there you go, there's that. And then again they go into how Poison Ivy is like, you know, they try to incorporate Poison Ivy into the chess piece, the pawn chess piece, and you know they try to psychologically place her into the mindset of the pawn chess piece. So, which is, you know, I suppose it's okay. It's a bit strange, but and then again shows you the different moves that the specific chess piece can do, and a bit more about the chess piece. And then the next issue is another pawn, the white pawn, which is Commissioner Gordon. So, but again, the magazine on these, as far as I'm concerned, it's nice to read the magazines, but they're secondary. As far as I'm concerned, this is £7.99. So I'm paying £7.99 for a metal figurine, and I'm getting a free magazine with it. That's the way I look at it, because the magazines aren't, you know, apart from the Marvel one, the magazines aren't really that much to write home about. So there you go. That's a little show on the magazines for the figurines that I get. I shall be putting up a video for the figurines very soon. The ones that I've shown here, not the Swamp Thing one, but the other ones I've got. So I hope that was interesting to some of you out there. And it's nearly gone to 25 minutes. Thanks for watching. Please comment down below if you want to. Thumbs up, thumbs down, comment, like, whatever. Yeah, thanks for watching. Hope to see you again soon. Take care, and ta-ta for now. Bye.